He's back to space. Still just something to think about. I'll be right back. Never comes back. He's back to Spain.
If there's anyone who has opposing views, anyone who disagrees, right? I'm willing to listen to anyone's viewpoints. Right? I'm respectful, right? I don't call people out their names, right? I'm not looking for a high contention debate or argument, okay? I'm not looking to scream at each other. I'm not looking to scream at each other. We can just have a conversation, right? Just have a conversation, a debate.
I'll be right back.
Okay, first up.
Never comes back.
Hello.
He's
Hello?
Hello.
Spain.
Yeah.
What's up? What do you disagree with?
AB is murder.
Which one?
The first one.
First one. Okay. So abortion is 100% murder. Stop lying to yourself and others. It is, right? We are 100%. If you're having an abortion, you're 100% killing a child, a baby, a human baby. Not people constantly use all of these fluffy words. It's a fetus. It's not living. It's this and that. You're 100% killing a baby. Okay, so it is murder.
I think the identity of the thing isn't really important. I would also say that simply killing someone wouldn't inherently say that would be considered murder, because I argue for self-defense. So I don't think that just killing someone is murder.
How's this self-defense?
I'm not saying that an AB is self-defense. I'm saying that simply saying that you're killing something is not inherently proving that it's murder.
What is it? Okay, what would it be another context if you are murdering something? I mean, or killing something.
Yeah,
What would it be categorized as then?
an unjust killing.
Is it justified?
Yes, in my view, yeah.
What's the justification?
Yeah,
Selfishness?
that wouldn't be a justification. Okay, so the justification in my view would be that it seems to be the case that it violates bodily autonomy because interest is absent in the child.
What do you mean body autonomy?
Do you know what bodily autonomy is?
I do, but I mean, what do you mean in this context? You have 100%
Okay,
body
so
autonomy.
what is bodily autonomy?
You have control of your body.
Okay, so do you think that people need to verbally say something to have bodily autonomy?
Verbally say something?
Yes.
No.
Right. So we would both agree that a 3-year-old has the right to some bodily autonomy, right? To some degree, right?
Yes.
Right. So what I'm telling you is at a certain point in the fetus, I do say that yes, it does have to have some type of characteristic. And in order to have an autonomy, you have to have an interest.
An interest in what?
In some
Life?
like no, I'm saying like let's say even if a 3-year-old child couldn't speak, right? And you were causing some type of pain that wasn't indicative of like a medical necessity, right? This would be an infringement on bodily autonomy, even if it couldn't speak, because the 3-year-old's interest is opposite to what you're trying to give it, right?
A 3-year-old's interest is different.
It doesn't favor the pain and the suffering it's receiving.
Yes. Okay.
Right. So that's the interest, right? What I'm saying is if a being doesn't have an interest, whether it's biologically or not, then I don't consider it to be immoral.
This is, I mean, like my personal opinion, all life has an interest for life.
Well, that would just be a descriptive claim. That's not, I mean, well, not, I'm sorry, not a descriptive claim. That would just essentially be like noxious stimuli. That's like saying that, so what about an organism that feeds off the body of humans, right? If some type of thing tried to, like a mosquito tried to um, suck some blood out of your skin and you smack it and unalive it, right? We're not gonna say that this is like immoral, even though that's what it's made to do. That's what its interest. What it's like. That's what its autonomy is made to do, right?
Yeah, but we would also say that it has a right. I mean, it's doing its job for life, right? I mean,
But
we're not
we
saying that it
wouldn't say
doesn't
it's
have a
wrong to
right to
unalive it.
life, even if it's
Okay,
even if
so
it's a mosquito, right? Even if it's a mosquito, it's doing its thing. Well, we all, I mean, like, uh, at the end of the day, it's like we're choosing which one's more valuable, right? Our own blood or our own preference or the mosquito. Usually we choose we're being selfish, right?
right.
And we're choosing
So
ourselves. I'm more saying that let's just not lie about it, right? I mean, you could you could do what you want. You could abort. That's up to you. But my the premise is that we are lying about it. We put all these more extra layers to it to pretty much lessen the blow, right? Oh, it's not murder, it's not killing because this, that. When honestly it is, right? You do what you want to do. That's why I put the preferences. You're lying to yourself and others by adding more layers to it to soften the blow. And I think this is
right,
why when it comes to abortion, this is what people do, right? They say it's a fetus. They say they put all these layers, what you are doing, to essentially to lessen the blow. Where if let's say if it was a born baby, right? If it was a born baby, it will feel harder to let's say unalive it, okay, unalive the baby. But because it's a fetus or barely developed yet, right? We could say all these things, and we say all these things to
um,
lessen that blow.
I disagree. I think that when we use these terms, they're a reference to a stage of development. I think that regardless, even if you call it a fetus, a baby, I wouldn't really change my position. Like even if you call it a child or a baby, I don't really care. Like it's like if the characteristic is absent, I would still say that pro-choice before 20 weeks is permissible, regardless of what you call it.
Well, okay. How's a newborn, right? Let's say a newborn, straight out newborn. How does it? What is it? The what was your precursor?
20 weeks.
No. I'm talking about why is it has the right to life? A exact
Yeah, because
newborn.
because it has interest, so it seems to be the case
It
that
wouldn't even
we
understand
ought.
it wouldn't even understand the concept of interest. What's the newborn's
Well,
interest?
interest, dude, look, okay, interest does not mean somebody's able to say, I don't
Well,
like,
I
I
get
do
it,
like.
but what's the indicator? What would you say when you look at a newborn or whatever the classifications of a newborn? Why would you say, oh, you know what? The newborn has interest, but a baby 19 weeks. You said 20 weeks, 19 weeks. Why
Because
is that has no
sentience is
interest?
absent, because it has no subjective experience.
A newborn doesn't either.
Yes, it does.
What's the subjective experiences?
It has interest.
Quantify it. Describe it.
So
Give an
yeah,
example of it.
I can give you basic form. So yeah, force feeding the baby when it's already full, causing the baby harm when you're doing things that aren't like absent of medical necessity.
Could you not cause
That's
a harm?
infringing on
Could
bodily
you
autonomy.
could you not cause harm when the baby's in the stomach?
Before 20 weeks, no.
You can't cause harm. I mean, I'm pretty sure abortion is harm.
Well, when you're saying harm,
Or
this is
falling down the
essentially like
stairs, or any you could cause magnitude of harm to the baby that's still in the stomach. And
okay,
feeding, you could
no, what?
also you're literally feeding the child, right? You could you could feed a child, right? While of course you're feeding the child while it's in the stomach. So all the pre-indicators
Okay,
being fed, being
no,
harmed is also there while
no,
it's in the stomach. How
no,
how?
it's not. Because this is called, prior to sentience, this is called noxious stimuli. It is the response to an action. But before sentience is actualized, the child or fetus, whatever you want to call it, is not able to actualize the concept of any kind of a subjective experience to consider it to be suffering. It doesn't suffer anything. It's literally just, it's like if you put your finger on a piece of paper and the paper naturally wrapped around your finger. It's a response to a physical action. There is no actual suffering.
Where's your okay? What's your studying that a baby that's still in the stomach experiences no suffering?
Okay, yeah, prior to sentience, look it up. Look up the difference between sentience and noxious stimuli.
Okay, scientific consensus suggests that a fetus can likely feel physical pain or experience suffering. So literally, they can still feel suffering.
Yes, they do when sentience is actualized. Yes.
Oh, okay, but they can still feel like I didn't. First of all, right? One, my prompt didn't say which week, which you said was fine, but still, I said abortion is 100% murder. So okay, okay, by your standard, right? After 20 weeks. So do you consider abortion after 20 weeks murder then?
Yes.
Okay, well, literally, I don't know what the disagreement is.
Well, I'm saying before that, and I would say no.
Okay, sure. I mean, I literally didn't put a time frame. I just said abortion is 100% murder. Right? So if fine, if that's, we'll find common ground. If you believe before 20 weeks isn't murder, okay. But that means we can find the common ground that abortion after 20 weeks is 100% murder.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'd rather find common ground than just endlessly argue. So cool. I mean,
Okay,
is
what
that
about
the
number 5? How is that?
5?
Like number 5, how is that like? I don't see how this like correlates.
Okay. So number 5, if you support women for aborting their child, you should support men for leaving their child. Well,
How?
okay, this is the thing. You support women having, let's say, bodily autonomy, having reproductive rights. Well, if you support women for having reproductive rights in the same form, you should be supporting men for having reproductive rights as well.
Well, I wouldn't consider that a reproductive right
What
because I would say
what would be men's reproductive right then?
probably at the most it would be a preventative aspect. It would be like a vasectomy or something.
Well, then you're by the equivalent, you should think about women tube tying. You
Well,
should.
no, yeah, they have the right to do it if they want to, yeah. But I'm
Both
saying
people
that
have the right to do
like
that right now.
yes, I know
But
that,
then
but
you
I'm
just add
saying
another layer. Abortion isn't tube tying.
yes, I understand that.
Okay.
What I'm saying is
So you
what
think
I'm saying here is leaving your child would be immoral
it,
and it doesn't equate because if the interest is there, that means that there is some type of obligation or ought to take care of it. If these things are absent, then there is no ought. There's not an ought. So I don't
what?
see how this is analogous.
Okay, so if a father leaves a child before 20 weeks, is that not the same thing?
What do you mean leave it before 20 weeks?
He was out of the child well before 20 weeks. Because in your idea, right? The child, right? It's fine to delete the child, to abort the child before 20 weeks. It's okay. No problem to it for you.
Well, you can't well, you can't really leave. You can't leave it before 20
No,
weeks.
you completely, right? You could sign out your rights completely. You have no before the 20, because this is a thing where it doesn't make sense for you, right? Your aspect. So a woman can, like I said, right? She has that. A lot of people are fighting for the reproductive rights to abort a child. Yet men stop at at vasectomies while women go past beyond that.
I don't
That's
understand what the question is here.
the question is, why is it that women have more layers of reproductive rights than men? How can you
That's
support that
most
women
likely because
women
this
choosing to
most
be a
likely
mom or not a mom, but men are not
what is
allowed to
that?
choose that?
Yeah, because you can't we cannot endure pregnancy.
It doesn't
Why
matter.
would Yes, that does.
Why does it? Why does it?
Because if I am able to grow something inside of my body, you're not inherently, whether or not I have the right, I'm gonna have more layers. Like that's just naturally going to happen. That's like asking me if somebody has more video games, why do they get to play more games? Like
Oh, oh,
obviously they have more access. Like
okay.
it's like what?
So if men are more likely to, let's say, die in wars. So men should be the ones to vote, and women shouldn't, because men have more layers. Men, there's more responsibilities on men's shoulders.
I would say that it would be descriptively accurate to say that that we should have a specific entitlement in terms of what we can vote on. Like there should be, if there's more things that we can address in voting aspect because we're going to be drafted first. Yeah, then I
So
would agree with that.
so
Yes.
we should limit women's voting.
Well, not necessarily limit.
Then
It would they would have access to like the same rights. We would just have more.
what do you mean more?
Like if it was the case that we were able to vote on something like that's derived or in relation to some type of world where we have to be drafted and et cetera, and we had like, oh, because we have to deal with this, then we have more say in something in that aspect. That makes sense.
But let's say it's a president, or let's say it's a particular, our congressmen. So there are congressmen are the ones who push these, because we don't necessarily are able to vote for which law or which bill or whatever come to pass. We vote for a representative, right? So it's a whole thing. So are you pretty much saying that we men would? It's that's why no, that in practice that doesn't work. Okay, we would have
In
to
practice,
limit
what
women's
doesn't
voting
work?
rights to make it work.
Well, no. I mean, if you're talking about like limit in the sense that we wouldn't allow them to have the extra rights that we got, then sure. But in terms of taking away anything that was already present prior to that, then no.
But you kind of have to, right? If you're going to limit it, you have to
Why?
limit it. Like I said, right? Because we don't necessarily vote for which bill to pass. So we would have to limit or pretty much take it away for men to be able to, let's say, a president or our Congress pushes, like, let's say, draft applications, right?
Okay, let me
We
give you
would
an
have to
example.
go ahead.
I'm gonna give you an example. Let's say me and you are brothers, and our mom lets us get her stuff from the store. You're only allowed to order things. I'm allowed to physically go to the store, right? Because I'm allowed to physically go to the store, I get granted access, the physical hold of her credit card, so I can use it to go to the store. You don't get the physical access, right? Because you can just use the app, which already has our card information on it. It doesn't require you to have the physical. You don't deal with this metric. So to make this relatable to the other part of the conversation, right? It makes sense for somebody to specifically deal with something and have something like a measure of what they can do, whether it's a positive or negative, right, or entitlement, because of what they deal with. It doesn't really inherently say that the person should have more taken from them. It just means that this person is going to have something that obviously is going to be biased to their experience, which makes sense.
Uh, Not quite, because I said in practice, we're not able to do something like that.
Do something like what?
Exactly what you're saying. How would we
Yeah,
implement that
yes,
when it
we
comes to
have.
vote?
We've done it.
Example.
Women, do you think women weren't even allowed to have credit cards at that point in time?
Okay, great, but I'm talking about what.
Everything had to be in a man's name, so this has been done before.
Yeah, but we had to. Okay, women weren't able to have credit cards. Guess what? We had certain politicians that pushed that to fruition. Right? They made that happen by by
Yeah.
doing certain kind of laws. Right? So it's like we didn't choose. Right? We didn't say we didn't. The public, right? The populace
Yes.
didn't.
Yeah, they did.
Which populace made the laws for us to do it?
Well, making the laws is not necessarily what's being argued. It's the motivator. The motivator is the
No,
people.
I,
Do you know
I
that
get that. I,
women
I
fought
get
for
the
their rights,
motivator,
right?
right? But
Yeah. That
She already get 4 snacks.
Okay, well, what kind of snack does she want? She hot Cheetos? That's what she's
So she has like a popcorn.
yeah. So
Granola bar.
people should. Women fought for their rights, right? That's the motivator and the influence to like kind of implement these things into our system.
Yeah,
So if that's the case, so we could literally do the same thing with this war metric.
but here's the thing, right? You have to, because women got it so they could be equal, right? Equal abilities as to men, as the rights. Okay, it's not just one particular thing, and so it wasn't. Let's say, even though the credit card thing, it wasn't particularly a right to credit cards. No, it's just a right for equality. So it wasn't specific,
Yeah,
right? So now it will still, it wouldn't be specific, right? It would be broad. It would be general. So we can't. I've yet to see that. Okay, well, we have a law
that's
that, you
not
know what,
true.
women can't vote for this, but only
So
men
is
can.
abortion not a bias, right?
Abortion is not a bias. I'm talking about reproductive rights.
Yeah.
So abortions
Okay,
would
but
fall
listen,
under reproductive
is
rights.
abortion not a biased reproductive right? That's specific for women.
It is, yes.
Okay, then so that means that we have something in our system that's biased and specific for women that men cannot have.
Well, okay. Then by the same argument, why couldn't we put one, like, let's say, for men?
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying that it makes sense to do that depending on what experience you're
So
referencing.
by literally the fifth statement, right? If you support women aborting their children, right, by whatever, put a reproductive right for that. You should
That's not
support men to have a
that's
reproductive
not
right as well.
analogous. That's
How
not
is it not?
analogous.
How is it not?
Okay, whether or not you abort your child is distinct from the actualization of taking care of your child after there is an ought. So if it's the case, right, that you can't leave a child in the womb, you can leave the mother, you can't leave the child. The child is not even born yet.
But you could abort a child when this is the thing. A mother can decide if she doesn't want to be a mother or not.
Yes,
Yes. Why can't we give the same right to the father?
because he's not the one birthing the child.
The world is unfair. So what?
Yeah, you're right. The world is unfair. Cry about it. You can't birth a child.
Okay, that still doesn't change the point.
Okay, the point about this is, since this experience is tailored and biased to women, meaning only women can experience this, this isn't a right that's going to be synonymous to a man's right. It's not possible.
By your same
So
logic,
crying
right?
about this is irrelevant.
There was a time when women couldn't have credit cards. They could have cried about it. They fought to change
But
it.
that's different. That we changed it because that doesn't make it's because having a credit card is not something only a man can do. Anyone can have a credit card. Anyone can't get pregnant.
It doesn't matter. Why would that
That does
matter?
matter.
Why?
Because if men can't get pregnant, how would they be able to have some type of boundary or a parameter on what they can do with a pregnancy? You can't get pregnant.
But but see, you gotta think, right? Pregnancy doesn't just affect a woman's life. It affects a man's.
How?
How? Literally, child support. By the same token, right? By the same prompt.
Yeah,
If it
but
doesn't
then the
affect a
child is already
man,
born. The child is already born. You don't pay child support in the womb.
yes. And that's why I said he can leave his child when the child is born.
No, absolutely
Why?
not.
Why?
He said, why? Yeah, because in my worldview, if it's the case, like with the characteristics I gave, it seems to be the case that there's an obligation here.
Yes, there's an obligation to child. By
Yes.
the same token, if the woman negates her obligation, a man should as well.
Before 20 weeks, there is no obligation.
Who cares? I'm talking about a child regardless, right? There's an obligation.
Look,
I mean, your worldview is
yeah.
your worldview, right? But you said nothing, right? You said it's fine
Yes,
to
I
kill the
did.
child. You said it's fine to kill the child before 20 weeks. Okay, we can find common
Yes.
ground to that. But still, if a woman can decide what to do with her body, right? 100% her choice. Men have no say in it. A man can have 100% in choosing what he does with his life.
So do you think that a man should be able to have a say legally in whether or not a woman can have an abortion?
I do.
Okay, so how would this work?
It's equality. You
Okay,
have
so
to.
let's say, okay, so wait, let's say that we do this, right? Let's
Mhm.
say the woman says no, that she doesn't want it, and the man says yes. How would they legislate what decision to make.
Well, just like how we can't, abortion is illegal. She can give birth, right? She can give
That
birth to a
doesn't answer
child,
the question.
and literally, if abortion is illegal, she will have to give birth. Wouldn't it? Wouldn't that be true?
If it was illegal,
Yes. If it's illegal to
that's
abort
not
your child,
that's not what I asked. You
I'm telling you,
said
I'm
that the
telling you how,
man
right?
should.
So you said how to
That
legislate it,
doesn't
right?
answer the question.
Listen, right? You said how to legislate it. Abortion is illegal. If she doesn't want the child, she has to give
No,
birth to
that's
it.
not what I'm
He would
asking about. No,
fine.
I'm
Go ahead.
asking if obviously if it's the case that a woman wants to have an abortion
Uh,
and it's legal for her to do it, but you said a man should have a say in it. Okay, let's say a man has a say legally. If the man says no, do not abort it, and the woman says yes, I want to abort it, how do we determine which side is more viable to take? Who gets the final say? How do
okay.
we determine that?
Okay. Here's the thing, right? Do you agree that there are some states that abortion is illegal and legal?
Yes.
Okay. So the states that abortion is illegal, right? Obviously, that man will also have the right to say yes or no. If he doesn't want it, right? If he wants it, he has that right. He will have. He
You're not
will.
asking me, you're not answering the question. Who has the final say? How do we determine the final say
By
between the man and the
court.
woman?
By court.
Okay, so how is a court going to determine which one to take?
Okay, because if his abortion is legal, she will have to give birth to that child, right? And he wants it.
That's not answering. No, dude, no,
that-
stop. If it's no. Look, if it's illegal in the state, it doesn't matter about their word because it's not going to be permissible regardless.
Yes. So that
Okay,
that's
okay, so
see,
that's not
that
what I'm.
shows you,
Hold
right?
on, that's not what I'm asking you. I'm asking you in a state where it is legal, if a woman says no, I don't want this child, and a man says yes, and they went to court, how would the court determine which side to take?
They would be pro child, pro life. I mean, again, it's like
What?
no, you can't. This is the thing where you can't have a state that is counteractive, right? So if a state is, let's say, because one state can't be pro life and pro abortion. So that's where I'm saying that if we are doing that, right? If we are being able to, like the pro-life, right? If a state is pro-life, it kind of pretty much does that already. Men should be supporting a child in a pro-life state.
Can you
Men should not.
answer my question? This does not answer my question. I asked you if the woman said no and the man said yes. How would you said that they would have to go to court because the man should have a right in whether or not the child is born? Fine. How would the court come to a final decision?
How will the court find common transition? Well, you could probably, let's say, if he has the ability to take care of the child, right?
So if he's
She
making
would-
more
she would-
money,
Yeah, if he's financially stable, the courts decide that, you know what, she would have to give birth.
so basically now you're walking into a
No,
very
do you agree that
here's
here's the thing,
you're
wait,
making
because
a
I'm not finished,
very
right?
you're making
I'm not finished because there are plenty of courts that, right? They will think about the care of that child before anyone else, right? The well-being of that
okay,
child
but
before
you're
anyone else.
entering a very dangerous point.
Well-
So now what you're saying here is now you can now this type of behavior or this type of ideology would entice men who have money to purposely have or get women who have less money pregnant and uh to force them into having children because men on average already make more money than women. So even if that was the case, regardless if they're a good parent or not, just because they have money, you're entering a very dangerous zone. That wouldn't be very good. That means that men would be able to control women.
Here's the thing, right? I mean, this is you say a very dangerous spot, right? And in my worldview is that if you agree to have sex with someone, right, you negated the supposedly danger. You chose to have sex with someone.
That's not a danger. Who cares?
How is having a child a
Whether
danger?
or not, dude, no, listen. Whether or not we give permission for a right or an entitlement has nothing to do with how much money somebody makes.
Yeah,
It needs to
I'm
follow some type of hold on. It needs to follow some type of line and reasoning that's actually indicative of something that we're saying that's not allowed or allowed. You saying that just because people make money, they can determine who lives and who doesn't, that's literal degeneracy.
I, okay. Did you just say that I'm determining who can live and who doesn't? Is literally
You
what?
said that if the man wouldn't okay. You said whether or not they get to determine as if they make more money. That doesn't make any sense.
The court does
Just
that
because you
now.
make more money,
The
than
court
somebody
does it
doesn't mean
now.
You could choose if somebody dies or not.
The court. I didn't talk about die right now, right? But
I mean,
that's hypocrisy when
abortion
you
is
literally
dying.
you're literally talking about number one that you agree to. It's okay to abort a child, right? So,
Dude, is abortion not unaliving it?
yes.
Yes. So whether or not we're able to do this should not be because whoever makes more money. That doesn't make any sense.
It makes my thing is right. We do it right now. We care about it right now.
How
The
do we
courts
do this?
listen, right? I let you talk, right? The courts do it right now. By the well-being of a child, they will determine what to do with that child, right? Where the father has to support, or the courts themselves, for the well-being of a child, the courts make the decision themselves.
Yeah,
Plenty of
they
times
determine.
they have
They
they
don't
put
do
the
it.
child well-being before the parents.
Yeah, that's determined. That's to determine the state of in which they're going to like be living the livelihood of. They're not determining whether or not it's unalived or not.
The courts do it now.
No, they do not.
Illegal abortion is literally
no court
that.
determines. No, they do not. No court determines if you live or die because if you make more money,
Literally,
there's no court that does that.
literally, right? Illegal, making abortion illegal is literally that.
Dude, it's not.
Dude,
That's
it's not
what that is.
Well, okay, then what's making abortion illegal, right? How's that not, how's that not equal?
Because that doesn't. If you make it illegal, there's reasonings as to why it's illegal outside of because you have more money.
Okay, you just no. See, you're again. I said the money part. It's more stability. The courts do that plenty of times right now.
Okay,
choosing
dude,
the stability of the
it
child
has nothing,
before the parents.
Dog, you're not listening.
You could take out money. You could take out the money. I said stability.
That is for children that are already living.
Yeah,
we're not in the case of abortion.
Things, right? That idea.
No,
we can make.
Man, no,
literally,
no.
You keep on saying no. It means nothing. I literally give you two examples.
Because you're not listening to what's being said. You're just yapping. Like, dude, you do. The difference here is in one case, you're talking about the livelihood of a living being. The other case, you're talking about whether or not you can unalive the being. One of these is an absurdity. That's not the same thing.
Do you not understand your argument? You literally, right, support abortion. Literally the ability to unalive something.
You got it, bro. You're trolling. You're definitely trolling.
Well, then you could go. I mean, I'm not dying for it. All right. Anyone else? Hello? Hello. Any disagreements?
Yes, 100% on all of your statements.
Give me a second. Sorry about that. Just getting some water. So, okay, fine. Let's start with number one. Abortion is 100% murder. I believe that people just they're lying about it. They're just putting extra words just to soften the blow.
Okay, so I do agree with you a tiny bit on the very later stages of pregnancy after a baby is fully formed in the womb. But before that, it's not murder at all.
Why?
What do you mean, why?
I mean,
it's not fully formed yet. It's not living.
Do you think a newborn is fully formed?
Yes.
How it's still developing? It hasn't. I mean, like we don't really fully form until, let's say, maybe age 25.
It's fully formed because it has consciousness, it has a heartbeat, it has blood pumping through its brains. It can't really think, but
I mean, I think it has blood even before, let's say, certain. I mean, like those are different development, right? It could have a heartbeat at a certain age, blood. I mean, like again, it's. I mean, I will accept that you have certain viewpoints about it, but again, we can't say that what if it's has not, I don't know, certain fully developed things, it's not living, right? It's a living thing, correct? Do you not think that? Do you not agree that is a living human?
if it doesn't have a consciousness, I don't believe it's alive.
Okay, so should we kill people in comas?
If there is no chance of recovery in a coma, yes, I believe they should
We
be
don't
let
always.
go
We can't
because there's
always
no
determine
quality
that.
of life.
We can't always determine that. So we should just
Most of the
automatically
times you
kill them.
can. In legal scenarios and medical scenarios, most of the time you can determine if someone is not going to come back from a coma. There's
But
a high possibility in
there are plenty
multiple
of cases where
scenarios.
people do come out of comas, even if they determined it.
They are, but most of the time it's not feasible.
So by your word logic, so it is fine for we to just get rid of people in comas. Also, let's say, okay,
It
fine.
depends on the scenario.
Depends on the scenario. Okay. So let's go fully formed, right? So usually, let's say by certain people's standards, autism or deformities, you're not fully formed, right? Is it okay to get rid of people who are, let's say, have some certain disabilities? They're not fully formed in certain ways.
No, it's not. I mean, sorry, I explained that really wrong. I'm gonna retract my statement of a baby being fully formed. I will stick with my statement of it being if it doesn't have a consciousness, I don't believe it's alive.
You don't. Okay, so if it doesn't have a consciousness, you don't believe it's alive.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of ridiculous because we have plenty of life forms on this earth that don't necessarily have a consciousness, but they are living creatures on this earth. So I think that's. I mean, do you not think that's true? We have plenty of life forms on this earth that don't really have a consciousness.
In scientific terms, a lot of things do technically have a consciousness. It depends on what you define as a consciousness.
Well, do you define it the same way with, let's say, human consciousness then?
No,
Well,
I
then
don't believe
are we able?
trees, grass have the same consciousness as a human baby.
Okay. Do you think that, I mean, it's like we have certain animals that don't really have similar levels of human consciousness. It's okay to kill
It does have
animals.
a
That's
consciousness, though.
But there's a certain level, right? There's a different type
Yes, and babies in the womb don't have consciousness at all.
at all. So it is okay for us to destroy anything, get rid of anything that doesn't have a consciousness at all, even if it's a living organism, by your standards.
Basically, I mean,
It
it
seems like
doesn't
you
know
want.
that it's there.
It's this is the thing where I just find it disingenuous. Or I find this is why I say this, right? Well, the second part of that prompt, right? Stop lying to yourself and others. I believe that a lot of people who are pro-abortion do the exact same thing you're doing, where they add all these caveats to make it feel better, right? And again, if you see my second choice, right? I'm pro-choice. You do whatever you want with your body. Okay. I don't give a shit. I mean, I just say be honest about it. Right? You are killing. I mean, it's like I just find it a little bit ridiculous, right? You're splitting hairs by a few weeks. Okay, it has conscious. It's some people say, oh, before 20 weeks, it's go ahead, right? It's nothing special. After 20 weeks, okay, it's great. It's like you are splitting hairs by days. And I think that's disingenuous. I think that's dishonest. And that I think that's literally you are lying to yourself and others to soften that blow. Because literally it is just weeks, if days on end for that development. Right? But you purposely, let's say in certain cases, right? You would be fine if they get rid of it 2 days before something, right? 2 days before, let's say, it developed a supposed consciousness. It's okay then. But after 2 days, oh, now it's not okay? I think that's a weak argument. But, I mean...
Sorry, I still support abortion at any time because it doesn't have consciousness. It's not aware that it's even there.
Oh, okay. So now that's even... I mean, at least the other guy was saying 20 weeks. But you saying abortion at any stage.
There are so many reasons people could be having an abortion. It does not mean...
Let's do the normal reason, right? I do understand that there's outliers, there are exceptions, there are little situations. I understand that. But let's do the common reason, right? So why I say, right, number 2, right? I'm pro-abortion, but not I'm pro-choice, but not pro-abortion. I believe abortion is a birth control for irresponsible women. I would use the caveat. I agree, right? The R word cases, the incest cases. Okay, I agree. Those are shitty cases. Those fine. If I wouldn't even, say anything about that. But normally, right? That isn't the norm, right? A majority of women have abortion because they just don't want it. Right? So they did the act. They either did the act with someone they don't want or someone that don't want them. So they have an abortion. So that is why, right? I think that's, along with that layer, it is absolutely idiotic and irresponsible. And that's why I said, people like you, and no slight, I'm not trying to slight you, it's just trying to resolve guilt for people like that. Right?
Okay. Can I tell you my view about normal women getting abortions and no special cases? Okay, so in my view, a woman, just because she had a night of fun, is not supposed to be punished with having a child. One, her body will change forever. There are so many risks with pregnancy. You could lose your teeth, you could die, you could lose a lot of stuff. And also, what if they can't take care of that child anyway? All they're doing is having a night of fun. It's not even that... Sorry, I'm losing my train of thought. Okay.
Well, let's go with your idea, right? A night of fun. Why should you be punished for a night of fun? Okay, I get that. But do you not think that if you do something, right, whatever it is, there's usually consequences, good or bad consequences, but there's usually consequences for actions. Do you not agree?
Yes, in certain scenarios.
But
if she has done everything right, birth control, protection, and she somehow gets pregnant, it shouldn't be her fault if she went through everything she could to prevent it.
Let's be honest. I mean, I don't know what study you think, or are you looking at, but I'm gonna be honest. I think that is probably also a rare case too, where let's say she's on birth control. She's I don't know. He has a condom. I think that if you add all these layers, I think that the type of woman that does that is still the exception, not the norm, right? And okay, how about this, right? Okay, let's even go for your viewpoint, right? So what about a woman that does no protection?
Why would a woman do no protection unless she wants to get pregnant?
I mean, hypothetically, okay, because I want to...
Even if she does, she would probably be taking birth control.
What if she doesn't? Let's see if we can find some common ground then, right? What if she doesn't?
I genuinely do not think a woman would be doing no protection if she was not taking birth control, because if she doesn't want a child, she would be doing some type of preventative care to make sure she doesn't. If she doesn't do any of those, then she wants the child.
No, wait, could you? I mean, okay, but could you play? I mean, I want to say this, right? There's always a case, but but I want to play with your logic. What if she doesn't care, right? She's not on birth control, and she let him shoot the club up, right? Do you agree that you support her in the abortion?
I do support her.
Then
If
really
she
your logic
doesn't,
makes
if she doesn't have the means first, and plus she doesn't want to put her body through that, and third, yes, adoption is always an option, but she
Yeah.
doesn't want to put her body through that, plus the money to have a birth is so expensive. It will put her in debt just to have that baby and then give it up to adoption centers.
Here's my thing, right? Here's my thing. It's again taking away accountability. Okay. When people have their fun, right? It's great. I mean, like you could say a lot of people, drinking and driving, people will still review that as fun. Doing certain drugs, still view that as fun. Doing a lot of debauchery, right? A lot of honestly stupid ass, reckless shit is still a lot of people would view it as fun. Great, you can do what you want, but it doesn't mean the same thing as there's no consequences for your actions. All right, that's where I've always standing behind accountability. It's like you do the crime, you will do the time.
I do agree with that, but a punishment should never be a human life.
It's like this is insane. Where you think having your own child is a punishment, and if
Yes,
that
because
is,
what if you don't want the child?
then you should not have sex.
So you're saying that no woman should have sex ever because there's a chance they could get pregnant.
They should have no sex. They should not have sex with men they don't see a future with.
Okay, so I can envision myself with a future with a man, but I don't want children ever.
Well then,
So I shouldn't pursue
there's measures
him?
for that. There's measures for that. Get your tube tie.
And I just told you there are measures, but there's still a chance of getting pregnant.
Okay. Okay. Then can we find common ground, right? So let's find some common ground. I try my best to find some common ground. So okay, if you like hypothetically you or whoever, fine, you do all the measures, right, and you still get pregnant, right? Let's say in those cases, okay, I will be perfectly fine. But what about the other cases where she does know, like I said before, right? She does know measures, but yet you still support that. So really, it's a moot point regardless, right? You will support women no matter what.
Yes, because it's their body, their choice, not yours.
Then okay, but then it doesn't matter about any kind of other circumstances, right? It doesn't matter about any kind of circumstances because it's a moot point to you.
Mm-hmm.
But by that logic, right? By that logic, you really don't believe in accountability. You don't believe in consequences for people's actions. And that, I believe,
a child should never be a consequence. You shouldn't have to take care of a human life for 18 years because of one night of fun.
Why shouldn't it?
Because it's a human child. One, you go in debt trying to have a child, giving birth to them in a hospital, having to pay all that medical issues. What if they come out with severe disabilities or things that need to be taken care of? That's even more money. Hold on, can I please finish?
But we agreed to let's do the norms.
And I'm still explaining what comes with the norms.
Disability is not a normal thing.
Okay, then let's wave that away. It's still so much money and time that you have to put in to taking care of a child, raising a child, that you're devoting your whole life to raising that child. You don't get to do anything for yourself anymore. All you have to focus on is that child.
Well, I'm sorry, you made an action.
For one
That's the
night of fun.
consequences. Then you know what? Then why can't we just for that one night of fun? Don't do that one night of fun then.
So, going back to my point, you're saying that if a woman doesn't want a child, she should never have sex in her entire life.
No, I said she should have sex with the men that she wants a future with,
Okay,
and a
but
family
what
with.
if a woman wants a future with a man but doesn't want kids ever?
But that's a moot point. It does. You don't agree to any kind of circumstances, right? You're not saying okay, maybe this
I am
circumstance is
agreeing with the
fine.
circumstance. And I'm
Okay,
giving you another circumstance after that circumstance that follows up that single circumstance.
if she doesn't want a child ever, she can do measures, right? A hysterectomy. A hysterectomy is permanent, or what is it? There's maybe maybe a rare case, but again, that's not a norm. So get a hysterectomy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you think women could not get a sorry. Do you think women cannot get a hysterectomy, but men can get a vasectomy instead?
Well, I am on board. If you find a partner, you guys agree on how you want it. But
Mhm.
I also think it's kind of illogical where if you don't want a child, why should it be a problem for you to do it? That's my thought. But I also say, you find a partner, you guys decide if who gets the surgery. So I'm not going to fight you on that.
Okay.
Okay, well,
I feel like we're not reaching a mute point here. You're giving me scenarios and I'm telling you how I feel about those scenarios and I'm
Yeah.
giving you a follow-up example exactly right after that scenario and you're just going off and saying it's not normal anymore. But that is a normal scenario.
I am
That's
going
how
along
life
with your
goes.
scenario. I am going along with your scenarios. Right? Like I said,
Every time I give you a scenario after it, you say that's not the norm anymore.
well,
The norm is a woman who doesn't care if she gets pregnant. No, the norm is a woman using protection but accidentally gets pregnant.
I mean,
Or accidentally gets pregnant or forgets to use protection one
okay.
night if she's drunk or under the influence. If she forgets to use protection, that's still not her fault.
Hey, see, this is the thing where you still, right? I could even go along with your norm, right? Where you say it's not her fault. Literally, it is. This is a thing where I find it only in modern day, right? Only in modernity, where we think that it's okay to have sex and not produce children. Okay,
That
sex equals
responsibility still
children.
falls on the man, though.
Well,
As well.
I'm not saying that men should men. Yes, men are responsible. They should be like they should be responsible for their children. I'm not taking two things can be true at once. I'm not saying the men should have no responsibility.
In that scenario, if a woman is under the influence or drunk or anything like that, if she forgets to use protection and gets pregnant, that's almost heavily the man's fault. He should not be trying to have intercourse with a woman when she's under the influence or drunk. One,
Let's
she
not.
cannot consent.
We
Period.
can't. Let's not. I mean, then that's we're going off on a tangent.
So
with,
it's not her fault.
No, okay, fine. In those scenarios where if she's drunk, okay, but I still that's not a norm, right? I mean, it's not like 51% of women who had abortion or want to have abortion, they had sex under the influence. So, I mean, if I even if I find the common ground with you, that fine. Which I don't necessarily agree because she chose to drink. I mean, so I don't necessarily agree. I mean, I'm not saying men should be messing with women who are under influence, but uh, I mean, unless you're blacked out drunk, but usually, even tipsy, you have certain autonomy of saying yes or no. But even if I agree with you, okay, but normally, right, I still think that if you have sex, that's the consequences of sex.
I don't think I'm gonna get anywhere with you. You want to debate solely for debating.
No, what?
You're never gonna change your mind. You're never gonna be open to other opinions.
No, I mean, if you don't,
I'm
I mean,
giving you so many good options, and you're circling around to other options.
no, if you, okay, even if you give these little scenarios, right? Okay, fine. I said, if a woman, let's say, I could be on board with you, right? I could be on board with you. If she was drunk and she had, unconsensual sex, okay, fine. Yeah. I wouldn't cry. I wouldn't, be so, crazy against her aborting. Okay. But this is why I go back. I try to push it back to the norm. I believe, right? My complete basis for my argument, right, is accountability. At the end of the day, we as human beings, we are 99% in control of our actions when we start doing something. Our actions, a lot of times, if not most of the time or all the time, produces consequences. You saying that she doesn't deserve this consequences, well, I say she does. I say both parties do. Okay, you make that certain action, you receive the certain consequences. You have to bear that responsibility. I do not support adults, full-grown adults, shirking responsibility, right? Like pushing away accountability. That's the basis of my argument. For you, yeah, certain situations, adults can, fine, not take accountability for certain things. I think that just creates a weak nation, a weak society, right? And it's a cascading effect. If you think that, okay, you know what, I don't want to take accountability for that. Well, as human beings, we will push that to the limit where we don't want to take accountability for this. We don't want to take accountability for that.
Okay, so let me ask you something.
Mhm.
So, a woman is, so a man is like begging a woman to go no protection, just raw,
Mhm.
just because he wants to. And she gets pregnant, knowing full well that she could get pregnant. She does get pregnant, and that's her fault because she allowed it, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that it? Oh,
So
you think it's not her fault?
coercion? So you think coercion is her having to take responsibility?
I'm sorry, right? Do you think
Manipulation, coercion is her having to take responsibility for something she didn't want in the first place.
Can I ask you, do you believe women are smart?
I do.
Okay. So if and I'm a believer of that too. I believe women are hella intelligent, almost equal to men, if not better in men in intelligence. So if I believe that women are intelligent, then yes, it's 100% her fault. Right? You have body autonomy. You're not stupid in general, right? Women aren't stupid. Women have body autonomy, right? So it's like we have to understand the situation, right? I mean, like, let's say in most situations, right? There's one girl. Not every man, right, can coerce her, like you're saying. So she picks and choose, right? Picks and choose what man has the ability, right? Has the charm to affect her. So at every
Feelings do
stage,
get in the way of logical decision making. Yes.
okay, but you still gave that power to that particular man.
So would it not be his fault as well? He
It
100%
is.
knew she could get pregnant and still manipulated him. How is it 100% her fault instead of his fault too?
Two things can be true at once. I agree. It's 100%. I mean, it's his fault as well. I'm not taking away that. But this is why I believe in accountability. It's universal. Both parties are accountable for their actions, right? He's a dirtbag. He's a jerk for, doing that, coercing, manipulating a woman. I agree. But at the same, this is where I guess I'm more of a feminist than most feminists, where I believe in equality, right? He's a dirtbag. It's accountability, but why take away accountability from one party because, I don't know, you maybe hate or view negatively the other party? They should both be accountable for their own actions. I mean,
Okay. I'm still going to circle back around that children should never be consequences for an action. Yes, like if you murder someone, yeah, you need to be held accountable and you need to go to jail. But if you have one night of sex and your birth control fails, you shouldn't be held accountable. You shouldn't be held
accountable
for that for the rest of your life.
Here,
That should not be a consequence.
I think we shouldn't view it as a consequence.
How?
How? It's your child.
It's not a child yet. It doesn't have consciousness.
You literally said 18 years, so it's your child, right?
No,
I'm talking about
when it's in the womb, it doesn't have consciousness. When it's out the womb, yes, it's aware of its surroundings.
Here's my thing. Okay, fine. Let's then.
So you would have a woman give birth and die just to have that child be born.
Why would you? What do you mean die? Like you just literally.
That is the risk of most pregnancies. Yes, loads of women die just to give birth.
Do you know the
There's
mortality
so many
rate?
complications that can happen with pregnancy.
Do you know the mortality rate in America? It's not that high as you think. It's not as high as you're trying to make it out to be.
Just because it's not high doesn't mean it's not a possibility.
Well, I mean, by your idea, walking on the street, you have a chance of dying too. You can't walk through life that a chance of dying, that you won't do nothing.
I'm still saying there's so many complications with birth.
I don't disagree, but I'm sorry. There's so many complications with life, period. You can't walk through life
So
thinking,
you're
I
saying
can't do
that
something.
woman should give up her entire life to support that child for one night of fun.
She should accept the consequences of her actions. That is it.
Okay.
I guess it's okay if we can't find common
I
ground.
don't get your way of thinking.
Why? I mean, do you said you believe in consequences, but you only believe it in certain scenarios. I don't get
This
yours.
is the one thing I don't believe in.
Why
A
can't?
child
Why is that
should
universal?
never be a consequence. You should have a child because you want a child. You should never have a child because you're forced to have a child.
Here's my thing where I negate that, because you could have stopped not having sex, right? And you would not even be. You
Then
would not
going
be
back
put in a
to my
situation.
statement, women should not have sex ever because there's always a chance they could get pregnant.
Women could have sex in certain situations, i.e. marriage, i.e. a relationship with a man you see a future with. If let's say this, let's go with my scenario where only in those two situations. I mean, is that like a hellhole for women, where they only have sex with men they see a future with, or someone they're married with?
Yes.
Oh my God! I mean, then if you think that's a
allowed to have
hellhole,
fun in their lives without having to have a relationship.
People what? I'm sorry.
Sorry, people are allowed to have fun in their lives without having a relationship with that person.
Do you know, it's like a lot of the ideologies you said, it's dangerous because you could apply, just like the one you said, consequences for certain situations. It's like
No,
people
I
can pick
said
and
this is the
choose.
only thing that I don't want consequences for, because consequences should never apply to having a human child.
But by that logic, people could say that I don't want consequences for this, for that, for this.
No, you're not hearing me. This is the only thing that I am talking about.
No, but I'm saying the difference between you and me is that I say it's universal, right? You should have consequences for everything, not picking and choosing. Because when you pick and choose, it's just how you feel. I feel this, I feel that. Whether, you know what, I say actions are consequences, period. So just like where you said that, right? People are allowed to have fun. Guess what, right? In this crazy human world, people find a lot of disgusting things fun. A lot of people find a lot of different things that is honestly heinous, but they find it as fun. So
Okay,
by your
you're
view,
taking my words and you're twisting them.
No, but
I was
no,
never talking about anything else other
and I'm
than
not saying you do,
intimacy.
right? But I'm saying the danger of your mindset, right? While I put a pretty much equal stance to everything, right? If someone has your stance but just a little bit different, that's how we can make it dangerous, make it honestly a terrible
It is
worldview.
one thing out of a world of things. How is that dangerous?
Because if you say one thing, someone else can say another one thing. Right? While for me, the
Okay,
difference
then that's
between me,
their
I say,
view.
and I agree, but it's more logical, right? To be consistent in everything. I say it's all, not just say picking and choosing, because then it's not about my feelings, right? It's not because, oh, I feel this. No, it's being consistent, right? Because for your thing, right, it's individual. For my thing, it's collective. So
It's
that's why I
not
see your
murder.
worldview as a dangerous worldview.
If you go up to someone in the street, stab them. Yes, that is murder. They have consciousness, they have a life, they have everything. They are aware of everything around them. If you kill a child in the womb, that is not murder. They are not conscious.
Well,
They
by
don't know what is going on. They
some
have no
scientists
life.
say that literally you said that you can have abortion anytime, right? Anytime during pregnancy. There's a lot
Before
of
20
scientists that
weeks.
said what?
Before 20 weeks, they're not really alive.
You said any
They
time,
don't have consciousness.
but you said any point.
But they
So
are considered alive, yes.
but okay, but which stance do you have? You can have abortion at any point, or now are you saying
So
that
my
abortion
belief
before?
is you can have abortion at any point
Okay,
because it's your body, your choice.
okay,
Science believes after 20 weeks, a baby is alive in the womb. I believe if it doesn't have consciousness yet, it is not alive.
okay. But I want to see if you're consistent. Scientists say that, let's say, I don't know, at 25 or let's say at 30 weeks, you're conscious. But by your view, you can still abort a child then, correct?
Yes.
Well, then what does consciousness even matter then? Because you can you just said you support women aborting at any time, even if the baby is conscious. So like your viewpoint about consciousness is mute. You don't care about consciousness. You just care about what is it? Her body, her right. That's it, right? So you using consciousness is actually ridiculous. That doesn't even make, because you contradict your viewpoints already.
Science says it is conscious. I don't believe it is conscious. Just because they say it's alive doesn't mean it has consciousness.
But science also dictates what's consciousness. So you don't, I mean, so that means if you want to take away what science believes is consciousness, that
Living
means,
is not conscious.
What?
Living is not conscious.
I mean,
trees are living. They don't have consciousness.
Science, right? Science is what describes consciousness, not just us as what we believe is consciousness, right?
Can you give me the article where science proves for a fact?
No, do you know?
Consciousness happens
no,
at
okay, so no. I'm
weeks.
saying, do you disagree that consciousness was prescribed by science?
No, I'm not arguing with you on that fact.
Okay, so science prescribed what consciousness is, but now you disagree on what scientists say one thing, but you don't disagree.
No, I'm not disagreeing. I'm saying if scientists say it's alive, that doesn't necessarily mean it has consciousness. Trees are alive, but they don't have consciousness.
It has consciousness around 24 weeks. So it's good to not abort then?
Okay.
Okay, as in you agree? Or
I shall do more research on that. I may have been wrong, but this does not change my stance. I still believe it is okay. It is not living yet. It has no quality of life.
But your quality of life is consciousness.
It's not conscious in the same way a newborn baby is.
So now you put
I don't believe that. I'm not saying science says that, and I'm saying I don't believe that.
Okay, cool. But literally you're proving my point. Number one, right? You're putting layers on it to just soften the blow.
I won't argue against you with that anymore.
Okay then. Okay, good. And you know what? I respect you, right? I mean, thank you for, I think we're having a good conversation. So I'm not, I'm not, saying anything bad. So I don't know. But let's say this, okay? I think that because of our conversation, I think you give me more credence on number 3. right? And we pretty much talked 1 and 2. I think feminists are fighting for nothing. And modernly, right, in modernity, they're useless. And in my personal opinion, they're ruining the world. And let's say just one case, it's literally thanks to your viewpoint, right? Common viewpoint, you're literally we are at the worst birth rates in human history. Another factor why I believe, part of the the ruining of the world. And I don't even understand what women are fighting for nowadays.
Women are fighting for the right to keep our rights.
Who's taking it away?
Back, like,
I mean, like,
back,
what
like,
rights do you want to
maybe
keep?
70 years ago, we didn't have anything. We couldn't vote.
I don't
We
disagree. I don't
couldn't really
disagree.
go out the house.
I don't disagree.
Like,
I'm talking about today. I don't disagree. Well, what about today?
we're still fighting for our right to keep those rights, and we're trying to push forward more.
Give me an example of how your right is being taken away or starting to take away. Like, so are you talking about reproductive rights?
Yes.
Okay. Then while we're talking about number 3, let's go with number 5 as well. So if you're a supporter of women, or are you just supporting women, not equality? I want to get your basis. You just support women, or do you support equality?
I'm trying to support equality,
Okay.
but men have such a control over women. We're still fighting to get that control off of us.
Well, okay. I mean, let's explore that. If you believe in equality, if you support women have reproductive rights, i.e., deciding if they can be a mother or not, do you also support men deciding if they can be a father or not?
I truly believe it depends on the context. Men should be responsible for a pregnancy as well as the woman. If a man has intimacy with another woman, both of them knowing full well she could get pregnant, that doesn't give him the right to walk away if she does get pregnant just because he doesn't want the child.
But it gives her the right to essentially walk away.
Like I said, it does depend on the scenario.
That is the scenario, right? A woman can decide if she wants to be a mother or not. Can a man do the same?
If it's a random one-night situationship, I do believe he can walk away, not really be in the child's life, and if he doesn't want to, but I do believe he should still, like, be paying child support for it.
So technically, technically, he's not walking away. He's still tied to the child. So even if he's not raising a child, he's still tied to the child. So really, in all honesty, he can't walk away, right? Walking away is that you
Yes,
have
because
no.
he still made that child.
But then can we? I mean, like, this is the thing. Why is that women have that right, men don't?
Because men are the one. I mean, sorry, women are the one making the children.
Okay, so
What do you mean so?
it's like,
She is the sole.
so she has this. So she has control of her body. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yes.
Okay. Why can't he have control of his body? His labor is his part of his body, right? His money, his finances, his support, that is his. That is his to give.
It goes the same way.
Yes,
So
it goes the same way.
if they both have intimacy and she decides she doesn't want the child, but he wants the child, he doesn't get to have a say because it's her making the baby and giving birth. She doesn't have to have that child. But if she does want the child and he doesn't, she should have the child because it is her choice. She's
Okay.
making the baby.
He's making his money. Why is his choice of how he uses his money taken away from him?
Because they both had the knowledge that she could get pregnant, and if she did, she would want the baby. That would probably be discussed like beforehand if it's a relationship or something. But if it's a one-night stand and that wasn't discussed, there is still they both knew that there's still a possibility of her getting pregnant. So, with how laws work, he should still be responsible for that child,
Do you not
whether or
see?
not she decides to get rid of it.
I want to. I mean, again, I respect you, right? I don't. I'm not. I don't want to think that it's me trying to get at you. But do you not see the hypocrisy in your argument? Where, okay, she shouldn't be accountable. She shouldn't suffer the consequences for the rest of her life because of one night of fun. Yet, oh, he should suffer the consequences of one night of fun.
Yes,
I find the
it does go
hypocrisy in
both
that.
ways. In this
But
argument,
literally, you said
no
it
one
doesn't.
should ever have sex unless they want to have children indefinitely.
What? Okay, how do you not see that you counteract your viewpoints?
I just told you why it does counteract with all viewpoints. In all arguments, everything is 50-50.
What? What do
It's
you mean?
both their responsibility.
Yes, I don't disagree to that. But how? Please understand this, right? Out of your mouth, you said she shouldn't suffer for one night of fun. Okay, but by your same logic, he shouldn't suffer for one night of fun. The only way you can sustain that argument, your personal viewpoint, is that you don't believe in equality. You just believe in women, right? Anything and everything for women. You don't care about equality. You just care that women have one up. That is, I mean, like, if that's,
I care that what I just said is women and men should never have intimacy unless they indefinitely want a child.
I don't disagree
That
to
is
that.
that is the entire point of the argument.
Okay, but I'm sorry. I'm contesting with your viewpoint. I don't disagree, right? I don't disagree to the point where, yes, I mean, you have responsibilities. But I said that before, right? Consequences are responsibilities. But you said literally verbatim, right? A woman shouldn't suffer for one night of fun. But why is it when you put the man, right, to the forefront, he should suffer for one night of fun?
Because yes, he did help the creation of the child, but he didn't carry the child and will not be the main caregiver.
But he will still be burdened by the child, right? He was like your same argument is like 18 years she will suffer for it.
In play.
But you don't see, it's like, but the same thing, right? She will suffer for 18 years, right? Like you said, suffer the consequences
Not
for
just
18 years.
Sorry, I should retract that. Not just 18 years. It will be for the rest of her life.
Okay. She was whatever, right? However long. It is okay for her to not suffer for the rest of her life. But it's okay for a man to. And like I said, I mean,
yes,
like,
because it goes both ways.
How does it go both ways? You literally said that she shouldn't suffer for the rest of her life, but you're saying that he should. How's that both ways? That's literally just one way. He should suffer, she shouldn't. That's only one way. What are you talking about?
How is it one way?
Only he suffers, right, for his consequences. She shouldn't suffer for her consequences. That is literally only his way. It's only you are literally just advocating for women to have, for just women, right? And if that's what you're doing, then at least I understand your worldview, where you don't care about equality, you just care about, let's say, the betterment for women, anything and everything, just for the betterment of women. Then at least I would understand your viewpoint.
I'm still advocating for equality. If
How
a
do you see that as
woman gets
equal?
because if a woman gets pregnant, she shouldn't have to have punishment as a human life for her entire life. But if they both have, hold on, I'm trying to get my thoughts together here.
Okay. I mean, I want you to accurately, argue your viewpoint, but I really want you to understand that. I mean, this is why I said, I hope that you're more logical, where if you feel like you're wrong, you could admit it. Because like I said, what you're saying isn't equal. What you're saying is very hypocritical, and it counteracts your earlier statements. Because when it's for women, right, it's different. When it's for men, it's different. That literally is not equal.
Okay. I don't think that I'm wrong on my viewpoint. I'm just a little bit confused how you think it's like not equal.
Okay, I will explain it again. You said a woman shouldn't suffer for one night of fun. Okay, you said that, right?
Yes.
Okay. So why should a man suffer for one night of fun? How is that equal when you believe that hypothetically she wants the child, he doesn't, he should suffer for that one night of fun? Yet if she doesn't want the child, it's okay because she shouldn't suffer for one night of fun. How is that equal? How can you say that ideology?
Because at the end of the day, she goes through way more suffering than that man will for having the child.
How so? Besides after 9 months.
After 9 months, if she is a single mother, she has to provide for that child all by herself when two people were the ones who created that child.
Okay, so again,
then for the rest of her life.
Okay, so by your viewpoint, it's okay then, you know what? She should suffer that one night of fun if, let's say, after 9 months, she just give the child to the father, or let's say abortion, or let's say adoption. So she's not suffering for the rest of her life, right? That's okay?
If she wants to go through that, yes.
No, I'm saying that
But
means
there's still the entire 9 months. Yeah.
I mean, okay, 9 months, but let's be honest. It's like it's a blimp in the in the time frame. It's I mean, I'm not saying
blimp?
that. Yeah.
You call a chance of mortality a blimp.
Okay, you use the chance of mortality. Again, you could walk out the door and you have a chance of mortality. You can't walk through life thinking, oh, you know what? I'm not going to do certain things because of the chance of mortality. Then you do nothing. Right? That argument that you have is kind of mute.
Okay, but there's still a chance of everything. There's still such a chance of that child coming out with special needs or disabilities, or even she could die. Yes, there's still a chance. It may not be, well, it's not going to be as low as just walking out onto the street, but it's not going to be as high either.
Yeah, so I mean,
it's still going to be a higher chance of death than just walking out onto the street.
Oh, okay, but again, I could say this. There's other things, right? I mean, like walking around at night has a high chance of mortality, right? I don't know, drinking, doing, any. You could agree that we shouldn't go about life just thinking about, oh, what's the chance of mortality? Human beings don't really do that. Human beings really don't go about life thinking the chance of mortality, because life would be drastically different if human beings in general think about things they do with the chance of mortality. So that's not a norm. We don't do that.
Yes, really, it is. A lot of things you're saying are controlled. Drinking, yes, it has a chance of mortality. That's really only if you have a condition that has, like, mixes in with that alcohol, or takes medicine that mixes in with that alcohol, or if you have an addiction. That's not going to have as high of a chance just regularly drinking than a woman giving birth. Sure, if you drink like a lot and develop or get really close to developing like something wrong with your liver, sure, it may have that high of a chance
Do you
then.
think
Because
drinking and
regular
driving?
drinking is not going to have a high chance.
Do you think drinking and
And walking
driving?
around at night is not going to have a high chance as pregnancy or mortality.
Well, I mean, like, do you think drinking and driving has a higher chance of mortality?
Maybe so. I'd have to do the math on that.
Human beings go through life not thinking about the chance of mortality. I'm sorry, we don't. It is dishonest for you to say that we do. We don't. We do a lot of
Then they're
things
stupid.
without thinking. I mean, human beings, I agree with that. Humans in general are stupid, but it's just how it is. We don't go about life thinking about, oh, what's my chance of mortality on let's say the things we do every day. We don't. So I just think that's a mute point to think about, oh, you know what? Because like if that's true, then no woman would ever have a pregnancy. We would take that chance. People take that chance to go about life.
If people want to get pregnant, they would take that chance.
No, people take that chance regardless because people aren't thinking about the mortality rates because
Yes,
people
because
don't
they
know the
want that
mortality
child.
rates. Right? And let's be honest, again, I'm not saying it's zero, but it's not that high. Right? It's not that high. So to equate that, oh, you know what? Like, oh, women have to think about, yeah, but again, it's really not as high as you're trying to make it to be something substantial, right? And again, it's still, right? It's still a mute point in the sense that it doesn't prove what you're talking about with number 5, right? You are literally promoting inequality. Now, like I said, if you are a woman that's, you know what, I only support women, okay, then I understand the basis of your logic. But if you are someone who support equality, I cannot understand it because again, it's literally hypocrisy what you're talking about.
Okay, so let me ask you this though. Number 5, you can support a man leaving his child, but then you say single mothers have ruined society, as if it is their
Okay.
fault that they are single if you support a man leaving his child.
Okay, here, let's go segue. Single mothers have ruined society. Now, I honestly believe, why I say number 5, right? Because again, I don't support women aborting children, right? I'm saying, right? The logic I'm using is that if you do support women, right, aborting their child, how can you honestly don't support men leaving their children, right? It's literally, I mean, like I said, unless you only care about women and not equality, then I understand that viewpoint. But if you actually care about equality, this makes sense. But what I'm talking about, real world, right? You know, women do, there's plenty of single mothers in this world, right? I mean, we have a huge amount of single mothers, right? So this is just, number 5 is only like, if you support one thing, you should support other thing, right? Doesn't mean that I support it. I'm definitely for men supporting their child, men being a big part of their child's life, right? I believe that if you're having a child, you need to be present and accounted, right? So that is my view. Number 4, yes, single mothers are ruining society by statistics and studies, right? If not majority, if not all, or majority of terrible people, right? Unproductive, terrible adults are coming from a single parent, usually a single mother household. So usually, let's say, hypothetically, the worst people in our society, criminals, I don't know, scammers or whatever, are usually coming from single mother households. So if the worst of our society is coming from a particular, right, I guess particular group of people, I would say that's ruining society. Because same studies say that 2-parent household is the best optimal for children, and then single father households are second best, and then single mother households are at the bottom. So those are my my reasonings, plus others, why single mothers are ruining society.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, that question had been on my mind since the beginning. I
Okay.
just derailed. Sorry, I have ADHD.
It's okay.
So yeah, going back to that, what I was saying is that it's such a high cost for the mother to have that child and her paying for everything for that child for 18 years, then her having the child after all that strain, and the man's just having to give like $102 a month.
Here, I want you to understand, right? My whole viewpoint is that I believe both people, right? And like we talked about this before, right? Oh, I said this: women should only have sex with men they see, and this is I think this is more of a feminist or pro women ideology. Women should only have sex with men they see a future with. Either you are a long term partner, you see this man is going to be a great partner, possibly a great father, or you're married and you'll still see him a great husband, a great father. Women should only give their bodies to these types of men. So if you give yourself to these types of men, one, single mothers would be drastically dwindled or gone or non-existent, right? The whole thing about men's child support, men would be in their children's lives, right? We would have such a better society if women were more selective and responsible with their bodies, right? And then we also weed shitty men out, right? How's that not pro-woman? How's that not pro-better society?
Okay, then by your stance, single mothers and shitty men would be ruled out, but then also birth rates would still be declining.
How?
Because you said it's okay if, let's say, a woman in a relationship that she does want a future with this man but doesn't want kids. It would be okay for her to get an abortion then. That's what you said.
Wait, what? Say that again?
Earlier, I was asking if, yes, what if, like, this woman wanted a future with this man or is in a relationship with this man, wanted a future with them, but she doesn't want kids at all. They both don't want kids. And you said it would be okay if she got an abortion then.
First of all, I wouldn't say it's okay, but I mean, I say like fine, whatever. But what I would believe, people like that would be outliers. People like that will still be outliers. They wouldn't be the norm. They wouldn't be the
The
majority.
birth rates would still be as low or lower than they are now.
I don't believe so, right? Let's say hypothetically, right? Hypothetically, women find men that they actually want to find men quick, right? Like in their 20s, right? Women that find men in their 20s, right? Find great husbands, great long-term partners. Usually if you find a man in your 20s, there's a higher percentage chance that you have more than 2 kids. Right? So if you have more than 2 kids, 3, 4 kids, how's that lower the birth rate? That actually increases it. Plus, you have a stable household, right? You're raising productive kids, and those productive kids see good examples, will produce the same results.
I'm saying it would be as low birth rates we have now or lower.
There's no proof to
because
that.
a lot of our population would be gone because of your stance.
No, there's no proof to that. If people actually get with partners they see a future with in their 20s,
That's not going to be most of our population, I'm sad to say.
But there's no, I mean, like there's no evidence of that.
I know.
Well, I mean,
I'm saying what I think.
Okay. I mean, I think counterproductive. I think counter to that. I think that if you find good partners, right? Here's my thing, right? I think both men and women, they want children, they want marriages, they want family, right? I think majority do. Okay. I just think that society is poisoning, people, right? Where if we actually promote, right, stable relationships, stable families, hopefully they will find partners early on in their 20s, right? And then have stable relationships, and stable relationships will produce, kids, multiple kids. I think that would be a game changer, but that's my viewpoint.
I do agree with you saying that it would be totally awesome if people found relationships in their early 20s so they could have the rest of their life with that person. And if they wanted kids, they could have kids, but if they accidentally got pregnant and didn't want kids at all, they could not have them. Like, that would be awesome for society. But I genuinely do not believe that is ever going to happen in our society.
Do you not see that? Do you not see that how your viewpoint is the part that's detrimental? Where think about one night of fun counteract when I say no, we shouldn't just have one night of fun, because I don't know about you, right? I mean, like, I don't know about you, but I find meaningless sex meaningless, unfulfilling, not that great. So I mean, again, that's my personal view, but I think most people, and in my opinion, most women, don't find meaningless sex all that fulfilling. So I
do
prefer.
think a lot of women find one night stands fulfilling, especially if they don't want a relationship with anyone in the future.
I mean, if you
It's
think,
because they have this freedom now and they didn't have it in the past.
well, I mean, I think that's a lie, because there are studies out there that women are more. I mean, like, we have a higher situationship, hookup culture, roster culture more than ever before in our history. And
Yes, because it's the first time we're ever allowed to have this openly.
great, but here's the thing, right? Here's a counterpoint. We have the most depressed young group of people, right? Both men and women, hugely depressed, right? Are antidepressants or some form of mental medication than ever before as well. So I don't believe that actually young adults are actually happy.
I believe most of our mental health statistics come from people and women actively being diagnosed for things instead of being sent off to asylums like they were before, or labeled as crazy or something.
Still, that doesn't change what I just said.
Yes.
People are more unhappy than ever before.
Yes. I don't believe people are more than before. I believe it's the same amount of people. It's just the statistics are different, because we're just now starting to diagnose them en masse instead of not diagnosing them and sending them all to asylums and stuff.
I mean, okay, but how do you say
mental
that?
health culture is as big as it is now because we are starting to diagnose a lot of people that need the help that they are getting.
Okay, but here's the thing, right? Even if I do agree with you, which I kind of don't, but even if I do agree with you, every year it's getting worse. It's not getting better, right? And then, but every year we're still diagnosing more and more. So it's like the people who are depressed are increasing in numbers, right? But you have to figure out some correlation. So society, people are not happy in society, and I believe a big contributor, right, to happiness is relationships. I think that's probably top 3, if not number 1.
I do believe most of our society happiness does stem from like people not. So I believe there's like a big couple reasons, like society in schools and like society being like friendliness and all that stuff like that, and being open. It's a lot more than it. Sorry, hold on, I lost my train of thought again. It's much more open than it is now, and I think that's a good thing, but I think it's too much open, so we're not having as much structure. We had too much structure back then, but we don't have that much structure now, so it's all just like flowing through the cracks, and we're just getting more and more shit, and we're not regulating it.
Well, then, but by that logic, don't you believe that hookup culture, things that aren't structured, right? Things that honestly are very chaotic, hookup culture, situationships, roster culture, right? The rosters, those are chaotic. Those are not structured. Or at least they deconstruct, tradition. So would that not be part of why we have an increase of depression in so many people? And also you said that
You're
lack of
saying
friendship, lack
it's
of this,
going
those
against.
don't promote.
Sorry.
Though, like you also said that lack of friendship, lack of connections, those don't really promote real connections. They promote very fleeting, very temporary connections.
When I said friendliness and connection, I'm talking about friends and relationships, not hookups. But in terms of structure, you're talking about tradition as literally women having no rights. That's what tradition is.
No, that is dishonest. That is dishonest. That is not true, right? I don't talk about tradition as in women having no rights. I'm talking tradition as in, i.e., you find someone you see a future with. It's not temporary. It's not momentary. It's not like, oh, you hook up and that's it. It is that you see a
Yes,
future
because
with.
women didn't have a choice.
No, that's no.
They were
that's-
either told to marry someone or they had to marry someone because they couldn't have their own jobs, they couldn't have their own vote, they couldn't have their own money. They had to find someone and have a baby because that was the norm.
That is ridiculous. So, do you think that your mom was forced to be with your dad?
No, my grandma was.
You believe your grandma was
It
forced to
was
be
the
with your
norm back
grandfather?
then.
No.
I mean,
No,
not her force. Sorry.
You said forced.
Yes, not her forced, but it was the norm. Before her, I think
The norm was for. So
my great grandma would have been a lot more pressured, and before her, it would probably have been
no.
forced.
Here's the thing, right? Are you saying pressured as in, oh, you should get married, or forced like you have to marry this person? Which one do you believe?
I think the pressure and decreased with each generation. So my mom,
Oh, fine.
I think it wasn't like totally pressured, but I think with my grandma, it was like heavily pressured in society that she should get settled down with someone at a younger age. And I think my great grandma would probably have been like totally forced.
Here's the thing where I believe that is disingenuous, because I'm not saying that there weren't a time in our history where, let's say, women were forced to be with one particular person, but I believe it's been, let me be honest, I think it's been over 100 years where I'm not saying, yes, pressure. Yeah, society has always pressured people to marry, right? I don't think society has pressure. I mean, my own viewpoint, I don't think society has forced women to choose certain people, right, in the last 100 years. So yes, we've always pressured people to get married because, in my honest opinion, it is better for people to marry instead of participate in the, like what we're having today, hookup culture, situationships, rosters. It is not producing happy people, happy relationship, or productive adults. So I think I vehemently disagree that any woman was forced to be with one particular man of, let's say, whoever forced her choosing. I'm quite sure your grandma, maybe even your great grandma, was able to pick the man she was pressured into marrying.
Maybe so, but I don't believe it was like well past 100 years ago.
No, well, that we could agree to disagree on that, but I just think that here's the thing where it is within women's choices, right? At least whatever how many time how whatever amount of time. I just think that what I prescribe and tradition prescribed, right, has produced better functioning adults. While today, the freedom or lack thereof, or the lack of structure, has honestly not produced good, healthy, productive adults. So I see a difference, right? You see the productive adults as your great grandma, your grandma, your mom. What I'm seeing as unproductive adults is the kids we're seeing and the young adults we're seeing now. Right? The high level of depression is within younger generations.
I believe happiness in this generation and the last generation is so much different than like 40, 50 years ago.
It seems like it's worse.
Yes, because society has gotten so much worse.
but what's thanks to that? That's your ideology, right? People that share your viewpoint.
Relationships is not the only thing that has made this society so much worse.
I believe the men and women dynamic is probably top 3, if not number 1. It's not the only thing. I agree, it's not the only thing, but let's be honest. I believe it's either top 2 or number 1. Right? We go about because of our men and women, right? So I think it's a big contributor to why our society is failing, or why people are unhappy, why we have high level of depressions, why we have high level of mental disorders, right? High level of dysfunction, degeneracy, all these problems we have in society, right? And let's go back, right? Again, I think that's the root of feminism, right? Why I believe feminism has ruined the world. It's these viewpoints. Right? That honestly has pushed society to its current state. Because I believe once the creation of feminism, we're seeing the results, right? The consequences of feminism. I'm all for women having rights, but there are consequences, right? And we are seeing it right now.
Okay, so I want to ask if we can end this conversation right here. You've given me some good viewpoints, and I hope I've given you some good viewpoints, maybe.
Yeah.
It's like 11:30
No,
for
thank
me
you,
right now,
thank you.
and I have an early morning shift tomorrow.
No, it's all good. Thank you for joining. Thank you for the interesting conversation, right? Mad respect. Thank you.
You too. Have a good night.
Bye. All right, guys, one more guess if there's anyone else. Let's all right, let's one more guess. One more guess and we're done. If there isn't any, if there isn't any, it's all good. All right. All right. Hello.
Hello.
What's up?
So I disagree with every point you have up there.
Okay.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, I mean,
Straight across the board.
have you been listening to the things I said?
I have, and I want to say that.
Let's go with number 1, right? You've heard the things I've said about number 1. What would since you heard my viewpoint, what is yours?
My viewpoint is that abortion is not 100% murder. When you keep talking about norms, norms that exist, and statistically, among women that have abortion, let's just look at the norms. Okay, let's set that as a groundwork. So 93% of abortions are carried out in the first trimester, just statistically in the United States.
Okay.
Secondarily, of those women that abort in the first trimester, 40% of them are due to socioeconomic factors, and fully 1/3 of those women are women that already have existing children. So there's been a lot of speech coming out of your mouth about women being irresponsible, and they should bear that responsibility and that consequence. However, you're making blanket assumptions and not backing it up with anything statistical. So I guess my question to you is, your standpoint seems to be very pro-male, anti-female. You claim to be pro-choice, but you're against abortion. But when you look at the statistics surrounding abortion and the very real
Oh, okay.
um,
Wait. Okay. Well,
threat of
then
birth
let's.
mortality. Let me finish. Let me
Let,
just finish real quick.
you gotta land the plane.
Um,
You gotta land the plane.
well, again, I'm trying to. You keep glossing over and bringing up things that have no bearing on the discussion. Um, you're stating that birth control or abortion is birth control for irresponsible women, yet statistically, based on your arguments thus far, literally a third of women aborting first term are aborting because they literally can't afford it. They already have children or are in situations where they cannot physically, economically, financially, whatever the case may be, they cannot be responsible for another human being. So
Oh,
that's
okay.
my
Okay.
groundwork.
So let's play with your logic. So first, let me ground it a bit. Do you support women aborting at any stage in pregnancy?
For medical reasons, I certainly do.
No. So
Yes.
anything else you wouldn't support if she just feels like a woman, right? If you're pro-choice, if she feels like aborting any time during a pregnancy, let's say outside of a medical reason, you don't support it.
So outside of a medical board, no, I do support women's right to have
So
an abortion.
so you support a woman's right to abort any time during a pregnancy. So that literally kind of mutes your point of, like, let's say the what is it? You said 90 whatever percent of first term. It doesn't even matter to you. That
So
stat doesn't even matter to you
it
because she can
doesn't
abort it
moot
anytime
my
she
point.
wants. It does
It
because
doesn't moot my point.
because
No,
it
it
doesn't
doesn't.
it doesn't
Because
add to your point.
statistically,
It doesn't add to your point because she could do it anytime. So it's not about, okay, it's not about
so
what
first and
what
foremost, you
see,
can't do it anytime.
see here's
You can't.
here's the thing, right? You allow me to talk. I mean, I allowed you to talk. Please allow me. Right? It mutes your point because I'm not saying it could. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying be consistent with your logic. If you believe a woman can abort anytime, really, her aborting whatever time, it doesn't necessarily add to your viewpoint. Second, right?
So women can't abort at any time, though. That's my point. They
There are plenty of
physically,
women
legally cannot.
aborting outside the first trimester.
Sure,
Uh,
7% of women that
But that
make up
literally
the remaining
that literally just
100% of
disproves your
abortions.
that literally just disproves what you just
No,
said.
again, some women don't even find out they're pregnant until 20 weeks.
Okay, but how's that so?
So, second trimester abortions are safe for women to have. So,
I'm not
of
talking about
the,
safe or not. I'm talking about do you support women aborting or not?
I do.
Well, then again, so it doesn't even matter, right? You support it regardless. You support regardless. Second,
I
right?
do.
You talk about financial situation. We should not be determining, right? That and literally that shows you the irresponsibility, right? You're having sex with, again, sex is a natural thing. I mean, it's part of the process of giving birth, right? It's part of the process of conceiving, right? You are saying that, okay, you know what? It's not irresponsible. It's literally irresponsible. These women are literally irresponsible. If you think that if you can't support a child, right? Then you should not be just having sex willy nilly, right? You shouldn't be doing
Let me
that.
ask you this. Again, one of my arguments and one of my statistics that I got from the Guttmeyer Institute, as well as the CDC, is that a third of women are in marriages or committed relationships that have previous children that literally cannot afford it. So you say you're pro life, but women are often faced with situations where they find themselves pregnant due to a failure of birth control or whatever the case may be, and they simply cannot afford it. And when you say, oh, it's a consequence or they're being irresponsible, I think it's more responsible for a woman to abort than to carry a baby to full term only to have social safety net programs be decimated, when women can't afford to pay for the childbirth, when women can't afford to pay for the formula to feed that baby if they can't breastfeed. You're just making a lot of generalities, and you're, shooting back with circular, irregular logic to almost everyone that you've talked to prove yourself right. And I guess I'd like to know, what is your basis for your beliefs? Is it religious, or
The basis for my
is it a man-woman
no,
thing?
the
What
base
is it?
the basis for my belief is accountability. We are adults, right? The actions we choose in life, we are accountable for it. There's consequences for choices. By your logic, right? If a woman can't afford a child, she can delete a child.
Yes,
If she has 4 child, right? She's like, she just lost her job, she can start deleting children by your logic.
absolutely.
What? That is absolute, like, okay, fine. I mean, at least you're consistent. I mean, like, I think that's insane. That is literally murder. You cannot start deleting children because you're poor.
So you can, actually. And I think it's more responsible for a woman to do so rather than carry a child to term and then deliver it and then be accountable almost solely for the care and upbringing of that child. If they cannot afford it and there's no government assistance to assist them in situations where a man does run out, and let's face it, quite often men do shirk their responsibilities and run out. And when you talk about, financial liability for fathers, it is very scaled down. There are men that make $70,000 a year that pay $300 a month in child support. And that is a very, well established point of our lives here in America, because America was structured
I,
as a very much male nation.
I don't see no. You have no basis for your morality when you believe that poor people can start deleting their children just because they have less money. You have no basis for morality.
I'm giving you statistics. I'm not talking
What
about morality.
statistics? What statistics? That okay?
What statistics?
That
That
children that
40% of women have abortions because they financially cannot afford to bring up a child.
yes, but they still have sex. Like
Not
you talk
always
about
by
responsible.
choice.
Okay, let's okay. See, you were talking about norm, right? You were talking about norms. We were talking about norms. Majority, right? Majority of abortions are women having consensual sex, right? So it is by choice. That is the majority of abortions. It's consensual sex,
So,
not nothing about
all right.
like no, no R words, no, no. It's consensual.
So why don't you land your plane and give your like framework
If
for
you
why you believe this?
okay, if you
Because
listen,
you've been spinning,
okay,
I've
you
been
can okay,
listening for
okay.
over an hour.
Well, then I don't understand. Why can't you understand? I believe in accountability, right? We are adults, full grown adults. If you do an action, there is usually a good or bad consequence to it. We are, as adults, we must accept the consequences of our actions. That is period. We can't pick and choose it. It is, if we're picking and choosing it, it's literally us being irresponsible and shirking our accountabilities, shirking our responsibilities, right? And I don't promote adults having no responsibility, adults pushing away consequences, right? That is what I believe in. That is my basis for my logic. And I will be that. This is where you said that I'm a, for men. No. I do it across the board. Men should be held responsible. So should women. It doesn't matter your gender. It matters your actions. We are adults. We choose to have sex. So what? You also understand we're not stupid. So if you choose to have sex, and a lot of times I believe, I mean, I need to look it up, but If he shoots in the if he gets you pregnant, well, that's the consequence of sex. Most people know that that is a consequence of sex. If you talk about responsibility, then don't have sex, or pick men you see a future with. Pick men you will get married to, or you are married to. And if you
Okay.
are married to already, you should not be deleting your baby. I'm sorry, get a job. It's a consequence of being an adult. Try to, if you can't afford it, don't have it. But I'm not saying don't have it in the sense of abort it. Don't have it. Don't have sex. He should be getting a vasectomy. She should get a hysterectomy.
So first of all, hysterectomies are not elective. So I think you're talking about tubal ligation, which is
Sure. I mean, either
a
or.
totally different procedure. No, it's not either or. It's a definite different thing.
Well, then
Which
you
again
could,
just
you
keeps
could.
coming back. Can I finish, please?
No, but
It
you could
keeps
still
coming
have
back to the point where you throw out a blanket statement and then you throw out all these arbitrary things that have nothing to do
like what?
with the topics.
Like what?
You're bringing morality and accountability into this, when in fact, accountability is the reason why many women do have abortions.
How so?
And again, why would I, if I were a woman and I had 3 kids at home, I have aging parents I have to take care of, my husband's lost his job, my birth control failed, why would I keep a baby or consider keeping a baby that is just going to add more burden to an already really stressed life? Give me that answer.
Then sex should be at the bottom of your list of doing.
In a married relationship, so you're saying just elect to not have sex because then you don't want to have kids. Because you
literally said, right? Women have all these issues, all these problems, all these other issues, right? If you have time to have sex, something that's elective, something that's you do for fun, you should have time, right, to accept those consequences. If you this is the thing where I don't understand the need to shirk responsibility. Okay, I don't understand. Work harder.
So again, responsibility is arbitrary. It's
having a child isn't arbitrary. That is a responsibility.
Is not arbitrary. It is a responsibility, and quite often men walk away from that responsibility.
I'm not talking about that, because I agree. I would hold the responsibility. I would hold men equally responsible. I'm not all for men walking away. I said that's shitty as well. That's not my talking point.
What is your talking point? Because you're talking
oh my
in
God,
circles. That's my point.
You seriously, I explained it. It's accountability, right? We are adults. We are not children. You do an action, you take the responsibility of said actions. Period. I don't care what actions. We are adults. We are adults. Stop thinking that, this person could, don't need to suffer this consequences. That we should be responsible for our actions. We are not children. We know what we're doing.
Abortion is being responsible.
It's not. It's shirking responsibility. You're literally not. You're literally taking away the consequences of, let's say, birthing a child, raising a child, taking care of that child, raising that child into a productive adult. You're taking that away. So it's literally shirking accountability, shirking responsibility.
No, you're controlling your destiny, and you are like fostering an environment where you can then dedicate the resources you would have spent on that 4th unplanned pregnancy on the existing 3 children you have and try to make their lives better. I guess let me just say this, and I'll listen to your point, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I have worked in radiology emergency for 27 years. I was working in the ER one night when a 13-year-old girl came in active labor. She was crowning. It was a result of incest. The girl's mother and her father were arrested, her stepfather, and all of their children were taken away from them. But this poor girl was forced to give birth and have that child yanked away, pulled out of her arms, and raised in the foster care system. And it was the most heart-wrenching thing I've ever seen. So my framework for what my beliefs are based on realities of this life. Again, there is a certain amount of you have to look at a fetus, okay? So you gestate for what, 40 weeks, right?
No, no,
So
no.
that's
Wait, let's
prenatal.
before that.
Let
Before
me
that.
let me go back to
Wait,
this. Wait.
you're going off. I want to ask: was it consensual sex or was she R worded?
No, she was our word. Yeah, all
And
the way.
I'm not against that, right? I don't know.
But
That's
no, you can't say that because you're saying abortion is 100% murder. So she's not.
no,
She's a
it's
murderer,
still murder.
and
I'm not
she's.
saying that it's not murder, right? But I'm saying that I can understand, right? I can understand in certain situation, it's not her consequence to bear. If she was R worded, she had no choice in it. So I would be supporting that. Yes, it is still murder, but it doesn't seem the same thing that she's irresponsible. She should not bear responsibility what she had no control over. And that's why I constantly said let's do the norm, because I'm big for the exceptions. I understand the exceptions, right? I don't disagree to exceptions. So
But you're disagreeing with the norms.
yes, I'm disagreeing to the norm. You brought up an exception, and I agree. I agree with your point of view. That is horrific. That's
It
not
is
something I agree
horrific.
with.
It is horrific, but it's also equally horrific in my mind to have a situation where you are married, you've got 3 kids, you're on birth control, your economic status or your financial status is such that you literally cannot afford to bring another baby into this world. So that being the case, I think it's more responsible to abort that child in utero than to bring it into the world and further stress and like decimate your family.
No, because by that logic, she could delete her existing children.
No, that come on, now you're just pulling shit out of your ass. That's
No, because it's
neither here nor
literally
there.
by your logic, right? If you're saying that, let's
No,
say
it's
she
not by
lost a
my
job.
logic.
No,
I'm
yes,
saying
yes, it is. If she lost a job, her husband lost a job. They are almost being homeless. By that logic, by extremes, she can start deleting children because she won't have to be burdened with. Let's say if she had four children, she could start deleting 3 of them and have one, and all her resources just go to one.
I'm talking about the elective choice that a third of women make that already have children to not bring another child into this world.
But you're using the
So
basis of poverty. You're using the basis of financial instability for that
so you're
reasoning.
so pro-life. What do you do? And this is an honest question. What do you do in your daily life to help children that are in financial straits? So you're so pro-life. What do you do to make that a better situation?
Here's the thing.
Aside from having lives where
Okay,
you just,
two things, right?
blow
Two things,
smoke.
right? I mean, two things. I regularly try my again. I'm no one special, right? I regularly try to give to charities, but regardless of the fact, right? Regardless of the fact, if I even do anything, again, we are all adults. It is our own lives, right? And that's why I say I'm pro-choice. Do the shit you want, but again, let's be honest. It's still irresponsible women or irresponsible people using abortion, right? It doesn't change that fact. You are irresponsible. We are adults. We do certain things, consequences happen. You have to take responsibility for your actions, period. But I definitely, on my own, I try my best. I work hard, even though I'm not a rich person. I try my best to give back to charities specifically for children. But even if I don't, it doesn't change the fact that we are adults. We are not stupid. We do certain
So
actions.
and
We
as
should
an
suffer the
adult,
consequences for said actions.
and I agree with the previous caller, the girl that was on. um, Children should never be viewed as a consequence, first and foremost. So when you're talking being responsible and taking responsibility and accountability, I'm saying from my perspective that I think it's more morally just to terminate that pregnancy rather than carry it to full term, because it's more responsible to take the resources that that fourth child would have taken from your family and putting it towards the three you already have.
Okay,
If we're going to just use
okay.
that as an
Then
example.
fine. Let's test the logic, since you said you agree with the last caller, but she couldn't accurately support this. Number 5, if you support women for aborting their children, then do you support men for leaving their children?
We support men for leaving their children.
Yes.
In what context? Just in general,
If
just
you
giving a
if
girl
you
pregnant
believe
and leaving?
if you believe women have the right to say I don't want to be a mother, or I want to be a mother, right? Reproductive rights. She can choose to be a mother or choose not to be a mother. Do you equally support men choosing to be a father or not to be a father, i.e., involvement in the children's lives?
So I fully support a man's ability to leave his children, given one condition, that they are financially responsible for that child until the child reaches maturity.
then that's
Because
literally
no,
ridiculous.
Let me qualify this, and
Go
it's
ahead.
not ridiculous. And
Okay, go
here,
ahead.
let
Go
me give
ahead.
you the reason why. So the reason why is women don't always have the choice. So there are plenty of states that outlaw abortion. There are plenty of legislations on the table in many red states where they're actively policing women, where they're actually getting to the point where they're policing physicians to not be able to carry out abortions when there's an ectopic pregnancy or they risk prison time. So
Well,
if
let's find
all
some common
things,
ground.
wait a minute,
Let's find some common ground.
let's get some common ground then. If
Do
all things
you?
were equal
Yeah.
and all things were good, then we would live in a world where men and women were equally responsible and had equal rights and equal say in the matter.
Well,
But when you have a woman, let me finish this thought. When we have a woman who has a child or a fetus that has, and this is a very low percentage, so I'm going for an outlier here, but who has an abnormality that will not allow them to live after birth, and that is a very low
okay.
percentage.
Oh,
These women make heart-wrenching decisions to abort that child.
okay.
It's the
No.
one thing they don't want to do.
Okay. No. I'm saying let's find some common ground. In a world where women can choose, now I'm talking about, whether abortion is legal or not. I'm saying in a world where women have 100% say whether they can have a child or not, do you equally support men will, have any connection at all to a child or not, where he can be a father or not?
You know what? It's between him and God. If he wants to walk out the door,
I'm just
we support him doing that, but he should be financially
no,
responsible
see,
for
no,
that
see,
child.
but that's the thing, right? He's still connected to that child. While women can sever that connection, you support women severing that connection. Yet when it
I
comes
do.
to men, you don't support men severing that connection.
Because men can walk away and women are left
Women
with
can
a six
too.
pound.
You literally just said, you literally support, literally this whole argument is you supporting women walking away.
I'm talking about carrying it to term.
I'm talking
So
about whether you support women walking away or not. If you support women able to walk away, yet this is the hypocrisy
define
or
walk away for
dilute.
me.
Walk away as in you abort. That's literally walking away from having a child. You're not having a child. You have no connection to this child anymore because you aborted that child. Can he walk away where he has no connection to that child? It's technically similar, where he has no connection to the child, just like she can sever that connection to the child she has as well, thanks to abortion.
But you're talking about two different things.
It's
So let's
not.
no. Let me level it out for you. Okay. So let's take two scenarios here. First scenario is there's a man and a woman. The woman gets pregnant. She decides to abort. I do fully support that. Okay. That's just my belief.
Okay.
The second scenario is we have a man and a woman. Um, she actually carries it to term and gives birth. All right. If the man walks away from that, I believe as a responsible adult, because you keep talking about accountability and responsibility, if he wants to walk away, I fully support that. Go ahead, go walk away. But you better be financially responsible for that child because consequences,
But
accountability.
how can you? So how can you talk in one scenario when it includes the man? There's accountability and responsibility. Yet when you focus on the woman, there's no accountability, no responsibility. That is the
Because you're
hypocrisy.
only throwing accountability, you're hypocritical.
No, I'm putting
Because you're
all.
only throwing, no, you're only throwing the term accountability towards women
No,
who elect to abort. Yes, you are.
no, no.
You absolutely
no.
are.
Listen. Right. I believe women should carry the baby. I believe men should take care of their responsibility. It's period. There's both responsibility, both accountable. He made it, she made it. They're both accountable. They're both responsible. That's equal. But in one scenario, right, she chooses not to have a baby. And let's say hypothetically, the man she was with, he wants that baby, but you support that woman getting rid of that baby. Literally, he has no say. Right? He has no say. You agree with that. But in one scenario, right, she chooses to have the baby, yet he doesn't want that baby. You don't give a shit if he doesn't want that baby. He still has to be responsible.
Again, you're talking about accountability and responsibility.
It's
so you're
equal
saying
across
a woman,
the board.
Wait a minute. Let me finish this. You're saying, if everything was level and perfect, if a woman has, sex with a man outside of wanting to have a child, then she should be accountable for having that baby. You're then saying, equally that a man, why should he be held accountable for that baby that he didn't want, but she does? So how do you justify that? Because it's a contradiction.
No, because no,
it is a contradiction.
No, listen, right? Because you're not understanding. I'm
understanding.
Obviously you're not, because I'm on the position that she should have the child, right? He should be responsible for that child. What I'm saying is the contradiction to your argument. How can you support women opting out of motherhood, yet you do not support men opting out of fatherhood? That is the hypocrisy.
Support men walking out of fatherhood if they want.
He's still connected.
But they should be.
Child support is still part of, like, providing for a child is still part of fatherhood. You cannot take that away.
No,
she's 100%. If she aborted a child, she's 100%. 100%.
No, I'm using your logic against you.
What?
And you don't like it.
No, because your logic doesn't make sense. Literally, I'm explaining. You support
my
women.
Logic 100. No, because
listen.
Hear it.
No, I do.
You can say listen. You
support
women.
You support women 100% opting out of motherhood. 100%. Yet men, he can only opt out of, let's say hypothetically, 50% of fatherhood. While my logic is women are 100% responsible, men are 100% responsible. That is equal, that is consistent. Right? The difference is I believe both people are responsible. Regardless, there is their actions, they should be held accountable. You're saying the men should only be held accountable when she decides to have a child, right? But you're taking away accountability when she doesn't want to have a child.
No. In your scenario that you painted out, they both wanted that child. They both wanted to have that child. So they should be held equally responsible.
Yes, but what if
yes.
What if one person doesn't want it?
Have you considered reasons why one person wouldn't want it?
In my world, I don't care. You did the time. You did. Well, you did the crime. You deserve the time.
You obviously care because you're sitting up here, and you're with every single caller that gets on, you're over talking them, and you're
I've given you. No, see, that's dishonest. I've given you plenty of times, right? This is why it's dishonest. I've given you plenty of spotlight. So you're saying I'm over talking you? No, that's really dishonest. Right? That really is.
Again, you call people dishonest, disingenuous.
Yes, because you are literally focusing on certain things.
Like your logic, what I'm saying is your logic is framed from a completely male-centric point of view.
How so?
Have you ever had to choose whether or not to carry a baby to term? Have you ever had to make that choice?
I've chose to
Personally.
whether I gotta give. I got taken away choices where you have to give child support. I had no choice. You have no choice. Why? Oh, this is the thing where
So you
you're
have
literally
children.
you're really saying that, right? Do you have the choice of carrying a child to term? But in the child support, men have no choice of giving child support or not. So how's that
Well, you're
logical?
talking about accountability.
But why don't you hold it? But do you not see your logic? Yes, I'm talking about accountability for both parties. Yet for you, there's only accountability for one party. That's your logic. You only hold men accountable. And I'm not even for men. I'm saying both parties need to be held accountable. I'm not saying, oh my God, it's only men should
But
be
again,
out in it. No. Both
you're
parties
coming from a
need to be held.
place where your ideal or your perfect world is 100% of pregnancies would result in a live birth.
I mean, for me, it's like, yes, if you got pregnant, right, you should go through with it.
Okay. Well, I think on that note, I'm gonna
Thank you for your
step down
time.
so you can
Thank you
have
for your
somebody
time.
else come up because you're an idiot. You're a
Oh,
fucking idiot.
yeah, you're
You really are.
see this
You
is the
no,
thing,
you're a
and
moron.
this is
You
the thing, right? When
cannot.
people want to
No, you
insult
don't give
others,
any.
it
Wait a
shows you
minute.
their low
Wait a
IQ and they
minute.
know when they're losing, right? When they need to
I'm not
insult
low IQ.
others,
I'm not losing.
they're little. See, look at that, right? I was respectful. I literally did not call them that weirdo man out of his name. I mean, now I'm going to, right? Now I'm going to call that simp, that fool out of his name, because literally I've been respectful for everyone who called up. And I try my best to be respectful to everyone, right? Because I think it's a good thing that we have discussions, right? It's decorum, right? I'm not calling you out your name. I'm not insulting you. But when you start to insult me, you've lost. You've lost, right? You are an idiot. You're an idiot. I'm sorry, because literally we're just having a conversation. You don't agree with me. I don't agree with you. Cool. Who cares? Move on. But the need to insult others just shows you that, you know what? Shows you that your logic is weak and you are triggered. You're triggered because you can't explain your logic accurately, right? You can't explain your logic accurately. You can't debunk my views. I'm not saying that I'm right, you're wrong. I'm saying that this is my views. What is yours? Let's contest it. But when you start to insult others, you are just an idiot, right? You're just an idiot. And I think that's, another, yeah, I think it's stupid, right? I really do. I mean, again, I try my best to be as respectful as I can to people, to people who come on, because I respect you, right? You come on, we're just having a conversation. I just think it's uncalled for to, start insulting others. But hey, when people are stupid, they're stupid, right? They get easily triggered. Adjust camera for TikTok? No, I don't know. I'm still trying to get a hang of this, right? So, but guys, that is it. That is it. Please follow for more, right? I'm loving these debates. You know what, guys? Chat. Alan wants to come on here. I always have an open debate, right, on Wednesdays on my YouTube. Alan doesn't show up, right? I mean, like, I just, for here, I wouldn't mind Alan showing up, but it's like, I wanted to give other people chance for voices. I mean, Alan can always show up, right? If you guys don't know, Alan is a big time disagreeer on my opinions on my YouTube, right? On my YouTube channel. And I love the guy. I respect the guy, right? I respect the guy. But he knows he can come on YouTube anytime. But I just wanted to give new people, new disagreeers a chance to on TikTok. So, it is what it is. I love you guys. You guys are amazing. But that is it, right? Please follow for more. If you love these debates, these topics, I'm gonna do some more, right? Because honestly, in my opinion, no one accurately was able to contest their viewpoints with me, right? Viewpoints, right? What do you guys think? Do you guys think that I definitely think number 2 really was contradictory and hypocrite, and number 3 was was a delusional, delusional beta male. But what do you guys think? Who won, right? Who won? Hi, guys. Please check out my YouTube. Please follow my TikTok, right? We're gonna have some more of these debates. If you guys think that you guys can challenge me, I'm no one special. I'm not a professional debater. I'm not professional at all. I just do this for fun. I think average people, right? Just everyday people should be able to talk to each other, right? We should be able to communicate with each other. But that is it for today. I love you guys, right? You guys are amazing. DA, Evil Eddie. I want to say, right? On my YouTube channel, Evil Eddie, thank you, my brother. Omni, I love you. I love you. Red Door, my sister. Thank you for being here. I love you, my sister. Whiskey, thank you for becoming a member. I love you, my brother. Organic was here. Sorry, I couldn't. I wanted to shout you guys out, but I was having a conversation, so I didn't want to interrupt the conversation with shouting out people from YouTube. I love you guys, right? Big Bars was here. I love you, my brother. I love you. Who else? I think Laughing Man was here. Randy, thank you for being here. Thank you for being here. I love you. All right. I love you. Anyone else? Cliff, thank you for being here. Genku, what's up, my brother? What's up? Thank you for being here. Exile King, thank you, my brother, for being here. Thank you guys for being here. Anyone else? Anyone else? I should shout out. Rudy, thank you for being here. Connor, thank you, my brother. Thank you. I think that's it. I love you guys, right? YouTube, if you guys, Evil Eddie or Omni, if you want to put your links in the chat, shout out your channels. I definitely, you guys are long time viewers. I want to support you guys. If you guys want to post your links, go for it. You guys are amazing. I love you guys. But yeah, join in the debate. Let's have a conversation. I can guarantee you this side of the conversation is respectful, right? I promote being respectful. So, but that is it, guys. Later. Peace out. Later, guys. I'm hoping to grow with the TikTok stuff, right? But yes, guys, I love you.